And we welcome you into episode 2 of Sports and More. I'm the Rick part, and we're about to see the David part full frame. We're here on the side right now. Don't you dig our new logo, David? I know you like the logo. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, not bad at all, particularly with the headphones that almost look like a hairline, which I don't have anymore. And mighty proud of the fact that I don't, man. It's saved me a lot of barber bills. That barbershop thing was overrated. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah,
Overrated.
exactly.
Overrated. So yeah, man, episode 2. Who knew we could
Episode
make it
2.
to 2, brother? Who knew we could
I
make it to 2?
know,
Come
because we
on.
went 3 years and had none. So here we are,
None.
and,
That's
and now
exactly
here
right.
we are. So it's good
Yes,
to
right.
have you. And
Good to be here.
episode 2, yeah, good to be here. We finished the AFC and our run through the divisions in the
Yep.
last episode, and we were previewing North Carolina's debut against TCU. Now there's the epilogue of Carolina and
Unpacking that.
TCU.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw something crazy at you. You ready?
Go.
If Bill Belichick washes out in Chapel Hill, and by first glimpse, he's well on his way, is he the most overrated football coach in the history of the sport? Going back to what he did with New England, the 3 episodes of improprieties, the filming of the opponents, the things they got punished for, the failure with New England with Tom Brady being gone. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, wins a Super Bowl. If he goes to college now and can't conquer the ACC, are we looking at a guy who was a product, right place at the right time, or are we really looking at a guy that many people will already say is the greatest coach of all time?
That's a hot take. 13 seconds and a half into the show. You just coming with it today. I would say to you, I don't know that I'll go. I applaud your candor and I applaud your guts. I don't know that I would go there because I then would probably come back and say, all right, Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls as a quarterback with Chuck Noll. What did Chuck Noll do before or after Terry Bradshaw? And great rosters.
Yeah.
Here's how I see some of that. This is just me and you, but it's just me in this case. I feel like great coaches always has something great about them from a player's perspective. Otherwise, they can't achieve all those things. Red Auerbach was fantastic with Bill Russell.
That Cousy Russell guy, yeah.
Pretty good. And no free agency. Once you had them, they stayed, right? Phil Jackson, fantastic coach. He coached, I think, the Albany Patroons. He was the old CBA coach. Gets on the staff with Doug Collins. Gets promoted to the position. Has this guy, you may have heard of him, Michael. Escaped. In fact, he was at the Carolina game the other day. Jordan,
Yes,
that guy.
Yes,
he was at the Carolina football game the other day. So there's that. So you have that. And so those are just a couple of examples of where great coaching almost always has something great alongside them. Very few examples of it. And Mike Ditka got his 1 Super Bowl with the Chicago Bears, an elite defense. Walter Payton. And again, Walter was not having to be the driving force that he was in the 70s. No. When I watched a lot of those games and he was running for his life and still running like crazy and they couldn't win a thing. So you have that. So I don't know. And that's just a couple right off of the top. I'm not quite ready to say that. But there are a number of analytic numbers that would say to you just what you said. What has he done without that? Now, the people who played for him swear by him. They swear by him. They find it to be, I mean, Nick Saban coached under him. He was on the other night before the game. Randy Moss was there. Teddy Bruschi. I mean, they just are in lockstep. And I think it's just developing a good roster and those kind of things. He was all about it during that time. Now, what you can say is toward the end, maybe his style wasn't working as well. But again, you get that Brady guy in there. I mean, Bill Walsh had Joe Montana and Steve Young, right? So
he did.
You have those. Don Shula had his stretch with Marino. They didn't quite get to many Super Bowls. They got knocking on the door. Marv Levy had Jim Kelly. So I feel like in football, you have to have an elite or close to elite quarterback and build around it. There's been very few who have won without that being really, really good. Now,
only one. There's only one.
And
you know who it is?
Who are you going to say? I got a thought. But I want to hear who you got.
It's Joe Gibbs. It's Joe Gibbs. He's the only one.
There you go.
3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which were great quarterbacks.
No, at that time. Now, Doug Williams was Doug
He
was
was
a first
okay.
round pick, but at the time he
Journeyman.
was there. That's right. Exactly right. And then
Mark Rippon,
of course, Mark
Joe
Rippon,
Theismann.
and then Joe Theismann was at the end with that group. And
Hey.
so, and he was winning it when the NFC East was winning it a lot. You're talking about that one
every year.
Well, you figure when Gibbs' group won it in '87 with Doug Williams, the year before was the Giants. That was LT, the Beat Your Broncos, I believe it was. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Phil Simms game, 22-25.
Super Bowl 20.
22-25. You had that. Lawrence Taylor and Bill Parcells. And so they won that in 87. Then when they won it in 91, that was also the year after the Giants had won it. That was the year that the wide right, Scott Norwood, that was a Buffalo.
That's right, the year after. Right.
And then after that, here comes Dallas, and they got 2 in a row. And then the Niners got one. Then Dallas got another one. So, and then the Eagles, the defense was amazing during that run. That was the Reggie White group, Seth Joyner, Jerome Brown, rest in peace, all that group, Mike Golick, all those guys, Eric Allen, Hall of Fame. They just couldn't. It just was nowhere to go. Somebody has to be. And you come out of those games just beat up. So yeah, Joe Gibbs did. I thought you might go Trent Dilfer. There's an example of one, but they had an incredible defense. Brad Johnson won at Tampa, an incredible defense. So you had that. So, and even some will say that the Bears defense totally overshadowed Jim McMahon, but Jim McMahon was a solid football player.
He was.
At the time.
He's underrated for that team. Yeah.
I don't think he got enough credit for how good he played
during
that time. I mean, because he was making throws at Willie Gault, and so they had dudes on that side of the ball too. So back to your hot take right out the gate. I will pause on saying that, but I'm also known as someone who's not so much a coach killer either, because I recognize how difficult it can be, having done it just a little bit in a much lower level. But what I will say though that is undeniable is that team the other night did not resemble a Bill Belichick team. 70 new players or not, missed tackles, no one's blocking, fundamental stuff. Come out in the second half. Well, he'll make halftime adjustments, and they take it to the house right out the gate, play number 1. So, but a lot like Alabama, Florida State over the weekend, Rick, and I'll hand it back over to you after this. We will know more in the next coming weeks. If Florida State is legit, then the Alabama loss may look different. If TCU climbs through the Big 12, then we may look back and say that was legit. If they're just a mediocre, kind of in the middle of the pack group, then we'll be able to examine it a little bit differently. And so I'm going to pause on the dirt tossing on him quite yet. But what I will say is, after the first series, Rick, it didn't look real good, brother. It didn't look real good. Not at all.
Well, and I go back, all of his assistants have washed out. I mean, Mike Vrabel's trying to come back. He was somewhat successful. None of the others were successful head coaches.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels went to Denver, got caught doing the same thing he did with New England, filming. If you remember, they were going over and playing in England. He got nailed for filming the 49ers practice the day before.
Unbelievable.
He got fined, and then he had to admit that they did that all the time. It was only the times that we knew about. So how many times did they do that and get away with it?
Yeah, that's true.
To me, that taints the whole thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
It just
you can't ignore it.
I just look at all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, is he a successful coach? Yes. He's still got 6 rings. I get it. I understand. Patriot fans are going to hate me, but hey, just throwing it out there. If you're right, and what you said is true. If they might bounce back. If they go 7-5, 8-4, then that's perfectly fine for him in year one with 70 new players. Yeah.
Well, you would take that if TCU goes 3-9 and they do that in the ACC, then what we'll say is we'll feel a lot differently. I think what's going to really tell. But right now, talking about quarterback, he's got Max Johnson, who's come back from a horrific broken leg that he's got in there now. His boy Gio looks like he's down for the count. After the first series, he looked a little overwhelmed and that kind of thing. So, but Sonny Dykes was pretty proud of being able to step up and say, "Hey, we're the other team.
We're here. Hi,
we're here too." And we're not gonna say anything till after the game. But now that the game's over, we just want to let you know. we are all right too. We are all right too. So yeah, man. So Sonny Dykes is that kind of dude too. I kind of like him. I like Sonny a little bit. So
I like Sonny. He's a good football coach.
Listen. TCU again, for those who have a short memory, sometimes mine is, they were in the championship game several years ago. The last one,
2-3 years ago.
last one stand.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So yeah, clearly he knows his football. No question about it.
He knows his football. Well, somebody else knows his football is you, David Smith. Now we went through the AFC. We're going through the NFC. Yep. It's wide open, I think, this year. I know. We're going to start with the East because, as you said in our last episode, the East is always on top. I mean,
they always are.
I guess they do it regionally, time zone. I don't know how they do it, but yeah. So the East, let's get to your fix of these.
I will. And, it's funny, Rick, even on ESPN's website, which I use on a daily basis, I always have the East at the top. So now I don't know if they send a West Coast feed on their website that puts them at the top. I doubt it. I think they always go East. I don't know. So anyway, yeah. So for whatever reason, we will follow suit and start with the NFC East. It would be kind of crazy to not think that the Eagles aren't going to be at the top of that again. I don't know that it'll be easy coming back a second year after being in the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years. We got to kind of wonder how things are. But the Eagles, super quiet offseason. No coaching Sirianni's not built for it. No Jalen Hurts issues. Everybody got re-signed. They took care of their guys. A.J. Brown. They've got Devontae Smith. They got Saquon, who was voted the number one player in the top 100 by players. So you got Jalen Hurts, who's just unflappable. One of your guys. You are a Jalen Hurts guy.
And I love Jalen Hurts.
The time we started doing these segments. Yeah, Rick, even on the old show. So what's not to like about the Eagles? We're going to see them launch on Thursday night. I've got them at the 1. And I've got the Commanders at the 2. I don't have many concerns about them anymore. People are wanting to be there. And you might know the quarterback of that team, one of your guys, right? Talking about, you kind of.
Yeah. Oh, Jaden Daniels, right? Is that his name?
One of us on this program thought that he would be a better player than Caleb Williams. One of us did. And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And so I feel real good about them. It's real good that they got Terry McLaurin signed. They took care of their business and got that done. And so we got to keep them at 2. And for those of us that are regional like this, we're real happy to see Washington being relevant.
Absolutely.
It's real important. My family's Washington through and through. My mom, my 2 sisters, they are absolutely Washington fans through and through, just like everybody else from our hometown of Amherst.
Right.
They're UVA. And they are Washington, and it is nothing close to them too. And they are absolutely. I've got them at the 2, Rick. I got the Cowboys at the 3, but I will tell you, I think they're going to be okay. I really think they're going to be okay. Now I don't quite know why I think that. The Jerry stuff. I think what I see happening around, and again, all we have is what we see, right? But I feel like the team is kind of saying he's just going to be him. But inside here, maybe they're trying to, and some of the stuff about Michael Parsons and now that he's gone, okay, maybe he wasn't this guy. I never loved that stuff. I never loved this stuff. Bro, he's right there. If you got something to say it then. I don't love how that kind of washed out, but we're going to kind of see if they can now rally and say we're about more than that. Because if you think about Dallas, other than Jerry Jones and Micah, you never heard a thing about them. You never heard anything about how practices were, Dak, CD, nothing, so they're kind of, I think, excited to want to go out there and make a statement. And I wouldn't be surprised they win the game tomorrow. I know it's a long shot. Eagles tomorrow night, weather's going to be perfect. Banner comes down. But, Rick, we've seen enough of these games. You think about some of these Thursday night games. They're very seldom blowouts, and a lot of times the champion doesn't win. The Chiefs lost to Detroit a couple years ago. They only won by a toe last year. I think about some of the years when I think Brady lost one of those Thursday night games, as I recall. He had so many of them. I mean, good grief, I guess somebody can clip him once or twice. So I'm going to say I am not selling Cowboys stock like a lot. I just feel like you got Dak back for a full season. We haven't seen Dak play a full season in feel like a long time. And I think they may have a little something to prove. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out. And then I got the Giants at 4. I just think right now for them, I think they're going to do their defense is really, really good. And like this division, Rick, they're going to beat some of these teams. They're not going to go 0-6 in the division. They don't go 0-6 in the division. The question is, who are they going to beat? Who are they going to catch? They played Washington twice really well last year. And so at some point, though, you figure they just may not stack up enough wins. So I've got the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants in that order in the NFC East. Now,
I agree all but one. And at the top, I'm going to go with my guy, who I think is going to be the next
ooh,
great generational quarterback in this league
hmm
and dominate
hmm
this league to a level where we saw Patrick Holmes take it. That's how much I think of Jaden
wow,
Daniels. And just every time I hear him talk, I'm just like, man, why couldn't Denver have been a little worse and have a shot at him? But
yeah, 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 yeah.
he is just he's special. He's a special guy, and I think that alone, I think Dan Quinn fits perfectly. You mentioned
Yep,
McLaurin. Defense
yep.
is flies all over the field. They play reckless in a good way because Quinn's a
Yes,
defensive
sir.
mastermind.
Yes,
I've
sir.
just got those two swapped. I like Washington, Philly, then Dallas, and the Giants.
Well, it's so great to see. How about that division when you talk about Dak Prescott? Dak's been around a while. A lot of people have different opinions on Dak, but Dak was in the MVP running several years ago. I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about how he got the job, he tore the league up when he first came in after Tony Romo gets hurt, and he's just kind of been there. And they had a couple 12-win seasons. You think they would take a 12-win season right now? They had 3 of those in a row. They just can't move it further than that in the playoffs. But Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, I mean, you could do a lot worse to have those two represent your organization right there in the same division. And I say a lot of that about Dak Prescott too. Dak doesn't hurt anybody at all. He does a lot of great stuff. So I like seeing good guys like that, guys that are leading those organizations. And so the Eagles got a lot. And listen, we're going to see what the Giants do at quarterback too. You got Russell Wilson, you know what I mean? And so we're going to see. There's Jameis over there kind of being the cheerleader and the super motivating guy. And our boy from Ole Miss. All right, we're going to see. I think at some point.
I love Jackson Dart.
I'm just thinking, Rick.
I agree.
Listen, you're not going to be able to keep him over there long. And I know Dayball's giving Russ this shot. Probably the safe thing. It's easy to start with Russ. It don't go well.
100%.
Bring him in, and then you can always go back to Russ. You don't feel like you're yo-yoing a guy that had it. I think Dayball probably doing it the right way, but that boy can play. He can play. Is good.
He can play.
He is good. And I'll say this part about it, and we'll move on to the North. Lane Kiffin, love him or hate him, he is an offensive whiz kid. If you ever watch his teams, they always are good on offense, beyond good on offense. And even when he was going up against Saban, they didn't beat him often, but Saban knew they played him because he couldn't stop him often. And so his guys that come out of there, and this is one of them, they're usually ready to go. And Ole Miss has had some dudes over the past years, whether it was Lane Kiffin or not. So we're going to keep an eye on the Giants. I think they're going to surprise some people. So you and I are almost the same. And I love what you flip the Commanders and Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love what you said. They've got 4 hellacious dudes at quarterback. I love, you know how I feel about Hurts. He's the most mature guy I've seen overcome as much as he happened, right? We've already talked about Jaden. Dak Prescott told the story that he actually had a loaded gun and almost put it in his mouth. He was so depressed a few years ago. He told his story. People had the audacity to ridicule him. So now he's dedicated his life to helping out people that have those problems. People may not know that. He doesn't advertise. He just does it. And then you have Jameis Winston, who's one of my all-time favorite personalities. He may not start, but who doesn't want Jameis Winston in your quarterback room? I love all those guys, and I just think it sets that division apart. Yeah.
And Jameis could play 15 more years and never get on the field, and he'll still be fine. And every preseason game that he plays, he'll throw it like he's 12 years old, and it still will zoom out of his hand. And so people forget. Yeah, and he took that Florida State team and won the whole thing with Jimbo. I mean, I don't take championships lightly around here. Maybe some other people do. When you win the whole thing in anything, even state championships, I applaud them because it is a slog to get the ring. They don't give rings away for anything except championships. And so people, even as rich as you are, you can go buy them. It won't mean a thing. They only give them to you for winning it. And
it won't mean a thing.
It won't mean a thing. Jameis got the real one. And so I'm a fan of his as well. So now we go to the treacherous NFC North, Rick. And this thing has gotten volatile in the last couple of days because of the arrival of one Michael Parsons, right? So, but it didn't get volatile for me because I didn't change a thing. And here's why. I believe that the Detroit Lions is sitting over there and saying, don't talk about us. Yeah, we lost both coordinators. We lost Aaron Glenn to the Jets. We lost Ben Johnson to the Bears. He's gone with Caleb. He just went down the block. Same division. We'll see him twice a year. We'll make sure we kiss him, and then we send him on his way. I think the Lions will be just fine. Remember, they had a lot of injuries last year, quite a few injuries last year. Hutchinson was out. I think with like the fourth, fifth game. He didn't play a lot at all last year.
Yeah,
and they still made a run. I'm bullish on Dan Campbell. I just feel like his culture and Jahmyr Gibbs is a dude. The Montgomery at running back, they're going to be back. Amon St. Brown at wide receiver. You got Goff. You're still playing at Ford Field. They've tasted it. They have tasted it. They haven't quite gotten to it. Remember, they were beating I think it was the Niners in the championship game. They were up on them in that game and couldn't close the deal. So I feel like they feel like they've got a window here to get some stuff done. I've got them at the 1 spot, and I'm pretty confident about that. Now, we'll see. We will, like all these, we're going to see. But right now, I feel like they're healthy and they're good to go. I got the Packers at 2. Jordan Love, there are people who think he could be an MVP this season. I really feel like the Packers, I think either are or last year were the youngest team in the league, and they were making moves and they were making plays. And if Green Bay gives up draft picks to get Michael Parsons, and they never let picks go. I mean, if you think about it, they don't get many free agents, Rick. They don't. They build from within. So they draft and develop. I mean, you think about Jordan Love was behind Rodgers for a number of years. He stepped on the field, and you and I talked about it on the old show how much how Green Bay looked so relieved to have the tension out of the building. And they were able to just go in there and talk about playing football and not, well, is he coming back? Is he not? And they look free, and Matt LaFleur can coach football. I'm sold. He can coach football. I got them at the 2 just because, for no other reason other than the fact I think the Lions will be at the 1. I think the Vikings at the 3 is probably safe to land. That's kind of crazy to talk about a team that was 14-3 last year, and you say to yourself, how you have them at the 3? Well, interestingly enough, Sam Darnold is not there anymore, and it's funny how they had to lean on him. So we got JJ at the helm, and they feel really good about him, Rick. From everything I heard, have you heard that too?
They do.
They really feel like he's the guy.
They couldn't be happier. Yeah.
They're. I mean, even in the off season when I kept saying, well, who are they going to go for? And this talk about Aaron Rodgers, they were like, no, we got the guy. And I'm thinking, no, you only saw him. Yeah, Rick. And you know what's funny is they only saw him in training camp. I mean, like he never even got to a game. But they are sold on him, and that means a whole lot. And listen, when they feel that way about him, you got to feel good about it too. I just find it interesting to be able to see how he can transition into this. This division is no joke now. They used to call it the old black and blue division. It is for real. These games are going to be cold. Nobody, even though you've got 2 domes, you're not going to have a dome in Green Bay or Chicago. And so for my liking, I'm going to put Green Bay at 3. And at 2. Minnesota at 3. And then 4, Rick, they're the Bears. I just think right now I like to see them ascend. I think this is going to be one of those seasons where we're going to see about your boy Caleb. We're going to see about Ben Johnson, who's really coached him firmly. You caught the sarcasm there. You caught that, right?
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I think Chicago's going to do what Chicago does. They're going to represent physicality. They're going to try to be tough. They got to put points on the board. But that division is non-compromising. We talk about 6 games of the 17 where you got to deal with those dudes. It's going to be very, very difficult. I feel like right now it would be surprising if they came up any higher than 3. I've got them at 4 right now just because the other 3 teams last year were playoff teams and the Bears weren't. I think it would take a steeper climb to dethrone one of the 3. And so I've got Lions, Packers, Vikings, and then the Bears.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. I think I like the Packers a lot, but I'm going to put Goff and his experience a little ahead of Jordan Love, who show us, he was supposed to have a breakout year last year. It didn't happen. I know he got banged up a lot, but
that's right.
I like that team, and I agree with you. Matt LaFleur he's a legitimate offensive mind.
Absolutely.
That guy is a game planner. Yeah, he's good. But I like the way I like that division breakdown.
Yeah. So that seems, and that wasn't much of a stretch, quite frankly, to me, other than folks who thinks that the Packers, there's just as many people think the Packers are going to win that the Lions may take a step back.
I know.
Because of the coaching changes. And so we're going to have to see how that all plays out but Jared Goff's a pretty mature quarterback. I feel pretty confident that they aren't going to change too much. They're pretty good. You've got those 2 running backs. Don't complicate this thing, Rick. You got dudes. No. Get them the football. Don't get complicated, right? There you go.
Exactly.
On that. So
keep it simple.
So yeah, stupid. KISS. You've heard it like I have, right?
That's
Keep
right.
It simple,
that's all it is.
Stupid.
Right.
Don't complicate
100%.
it. So
100%.
So the NFC South, it's been Tampa's division for the last 4 years. They've won it, and it really hadn't been close. A lot of times people call it the least competitive division in the NFL, along with maybe the AFC South. It depends on how you look at it. Tampa doesn't feel that way, although they haven't had much success beyond the opening round each year that they've gotten into it. It's for that reason that I picked probably the outlier pick. I got Atlanta winning the division, brother. I got the Falcons as the one seed in
Falcons,
the South.
huh?
And yeah, because listen, to go chalk is boring, and I just feel like Atlanta at some point has got all those dudes on offense, like a 4x1 team. You've got Bijan at running back. You got Michael Penix. You got Kyle Pitts. Will we ever see Kyle Pitts do what he was intended to do?
What's
I know he's been hurt
going
a little
on?
bit. Rick, coming out of Florida, you heard it like me, right? Can't miss.
Oh, he's Kellen Winslow, right? I mean, come on. He's going to be an all-pro. Come on. What's going on?
He was can't miss. And here's the thing. I feel like, again, we will all know on Sunday. Now you've got Michael Penix, who can spread that thing around, and I'm hopeful that they will open that thing up more for him. This is going to be a chance. If you got Penix throwing you the football with all those dudes, and they try to show up the defense, they had a terrible pass rush last year. They think they've addressed that. I've got them sneaking in and winning the division as the one in the South. I got Tampa at 2. Let's not get crazy. A really rejuvenated and good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. But here's the thing, Rick.
No doubt.
Rick, he was a good quarterback in Cleveland. He was a good quarterback in Cleveland. He was a good quarterback in Cleveland. I think people – now, I don't know how you feel about this. The Progressive commercial thing was the most overrated, stupid thing I've ever heard. He's not shooting commercials while he's studying film, people. He's not.
No, I know. People thought, they tried to equate that, and you're like, no, it's like any other athlete. He's got an endorsement deal. Leave him alone.
I'm watching him on a commercial, and they tell me that's his problem now. And then the next commercial, there's Jalen Hurts for something. No one says a thing. And you know what I mean? It's like, and Peyton Manning sold everything.
No,
so,
everything.
And so I found it to be so disingenuous. And I actually liked the ads. I thought they was clever when the stadium was his home.
I did too.
I thought they were clever.
He's living there. I know.
That was clever. It was so well done. So I like Baker. He's bet on himself. He signed himself $100 million deal a couple of years ago, Rick, and he's tough as nails. And he's just what Todd Bowles needs. I don't need you to go crazy. Manage this thing for me. You know we're going to play great defense. You know we're going to run the football. We're not going to gamble. And he's settled in nicely. Solid for that team. They don't have to worry about quarterback for a number of years. And he's down in Florida at Tampa doing his thing. I got him at the 2. I got the Panthers at 3. I want to see Bryce Young come back. And I know it was a lot of questions about him when he started last year, and then he got benched for Andy Dalton for that stretch. And then Andy Dalton was in a car accident. He comes back in. And he did really well toward the back end of last year. And the team had confidence in him. You could see where they were starting to rally around him. I don't know if they've got enough pieces to contend for the division. I think they're going to make some noise, assuming he plays like he did toward the back end of last year. I think that'll be one of the things that we've got to kind of keep an eye on. I've got the Panthers at 3. And then the Saints with so many questions. I mean, I think they're going to go with Rattler at quarterback. Right, I believe it is, and they've got
quarterback situation. Ooh.
Yeah, they didn't make any moves. They just settled on who they had. I just feel like that's such a risk with Kellen Moore as your new coach, and I thought for sure he'd handpick somebody to be there. You know, we talked about this earlier with Belichick. Belichick was smart enough to realize I got a good quarterback. I can do certain things. It sure does make life easy when a good quarterback can cover a multitude of sins, Rick. You know what I mean? Or a great defense.
100%.
And so I'm not sure if the Saints have either. What they do have is an incredible home field advantage. I just don't know that it's enough to get them out of 4th place in the NFC South. So I got Falcons, Bucks, Panthers, and then the Saints in the South. What say you, sir?
I'm going to reverse the top. Again, I like Tampa Bay to win the division, and I do like Baker a lot. But for me, Todd Bowles puts it over the top for me. 100%. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league. I love the way he approaches things. They show a shot of him on the sideline. It could be 35-0 Tampa Bay. He could be down 35-0, but he's just he never ever assigns blame to anybody but himself. I think there's a lot of maturity. I wish other young coaches would follow his lead, to be honest.
100%.
And I think that's why Baker has had success, because he's hooked up with a guy who has a similar outlook on things, and he's mentioned 100%. And I think that's a
100%.
dynamic. We talked about coaching dynamics earlier with Brady and Belichick. I think they have it. And I think Todd Bowles is great for a guy like Baker, who was trying to find his way, may have felt
That's
lost.
right.
And Todd's like,
That's right.
you're going to be fine here, young man. So because of him, I think that's why they get the edge for me. But I like what you're saying about Atlanta. I love Michael Penix. You and I talked about it. He was one of my. I mean, if he would have been there, I wanted him over Bo Nix in Denver.
Loved him.
So I get it.
Loved him.
I like him.
Loved him.
And you mentioned Bijan Robinson, and the other two teams. They're just trying to rebuild and find their way. But I like your picks. I would just swap Tampa. Just it was a Todd Bowles factor for me.
Yeah, well, Todd Bowles played for Joe Gibbs, I believe, in Washington. So that tells you right there he understands it, and he's a testament to. And I know coaches are fire and brimstone, and we love to see our coaches should be upset. But Tony Dungy won championships. He's kind of figured that thing out. He's a defensive coordinating guy, and he's yet to yell. And so now I'm not saying that you can't get into somebody. There's ways to do it. I'm sure Todd Bowles, people who would know him, would probably say, "No, Todd can get on us. He can get in us." But you're asking players to be disciplined, and then you losing it on the sideline. Kind of, don't go out and go crazy, but you're on the sideline going nuts. It's kind of hypocritical a little bit. Todd Bowles, and you got to coach to your personality, and I think that's his style as well. So I'm a fan of his as well. So, and then finally the NFC West. The NFC West. I am going to
one more.
This is where you
tricky.
This is where you and I over the years have probably parted company. I have been and still am a fan of the Niners and Kyle Shanahan, and you've been lukewarm on them. I've got them winning the division. I do. I've got them rebounding. I've got the Purdy contracts over. Now, they lost a lot of guys. Debo's gone, et cetera, et cetera. So we recognize all that. So you got Purdy and you got McCaffrey. Now, can McCaffrey stay on the field? You still got Kittle, right? You still got Trent Williams. You still got Fred Warner. So you still got Bosa, right? Am I right about that? Yes. I believe that Bosa's there. Am I not mistaken?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's his brother from the Chargers that went to the Bills, right? So to me, the Niners at their core are, and that Greenlaw went to your boys in Denver. So he recovered from his injury. You guys got Dre Greenlaw, who is a man. He is a man. He's going to light up the AFC. I'm just telling you right now. So, but with that being said, Robert Saleh's back. He will grab that defense and get them back to the way they were several years ago. I look forward to seeing them kind of show some recovery. I think last year they were just so banged up at key spots. They were just playing left-handed. I really feel that way. Now, the division hasn't gotten worse, and the players haven't gotten younger. So, and injuries are going to happen. It can't happen to certain players for the Niners if they're going to have the expectations that they expect to have. And so I look forward to seeing them kind of ascend and get themselves back together. I'm bullish on them. I like their infrastructure. I'm a John Lynch fan, former Bronco, right? Former Buck. I like what he does in terms of his no-nonsense way of wanting to approach stuff. I got the Niners at the 1. I had this one kind of on the fence, but I got the Rams at 2. Matthew Stafford's back. I don't know what to make of that. Is it a lot? Is it a little bit? If it's hurting when you hadn't been hit, Rick, what do you think, right?
It's fair. Yeah.
And so, but the Rams last year, for those of us that remember, and so there's some of you all that may have forgotten, it was them in Philadelphia as the snow was falling last year that was driving down the field with a chance to put that game in peril for the Eagles. And they ran out of time, as it turned out, couldn't finish the deal. But they gave the Eagles probably the toughest challenge on their way to the Super Bowl because they beat the Commanders bad in the championship game and they killed the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was the Rams that gave them the biggest fit last year. The Rams, Sean McVay, who was your boy, you called it. You said once he decided that he was all in on coaching after toying around, well, I may retire, just got married, I might go into TV. When he and Aaron Donald was retiring, what's happening with the Ram? When Aaron Donald went away and retired, a grown man, by the way, who could probably come back and play right now. And then McVay decided that he was back into coaching. All of a sudden, everybody got their juice back again, right? And so the Rams, to me, very dangerous team. We're not surprised if they win the division. Rick wouldn't surprise me if they win the division. I've got the Niners winning it. I would not be surprised if they did.
No.
And then there's the Cardinals. I want to root for them every year. I just want to root for them every year, Rick. Kyler Murray is fun to watch. in 1 or 2 games a year, they do something they shouldn't do. Like a couple years ago, they beat Dallas, and they had no business beating Dallas. Dallas was it was early in the season. I remember it was like an October day. My wife and I had gone somewhere. We came back and said, well, let's see what's going on. And they beat Dallas, if my memory serves me right. And it had no sense doing that. And then they followed it up by not winning games they should, and that kind of thing. I know Kyler was banged up. He had the ACL the one season and that kind of thing. I think this is one of those make or break seasons for them. I really – James Conner, I love. I'm so glad he has found himself a place to run the football, man, after all he's gone through. You know, he was with the Steelers after playing for Pitt, and he had the cancer diagnosis, came back, and, bro, he ran the ball last year wonderfully. I'm a fan of that team. I really want to see them do well. I don't know that they can break through this. And then there's the Seahawks, Rick, in the 4th spot. You know, they lose Geno. You know, Geno decides to go to the Raiders, bring in Sam Darnold. So we've got that. Mike McDaniel coaches defense really well. You got the 12th man there. This division could literally be the complete opposite of what I'm telling you right now. It could literally be the 4th could be 1, 3 could be 2, 2 could be 3, and 1 could be 4, because the Niners ended up near the bottom of it last year. And who knew that was coming? But we got to start with something. We got to go with what we think we know. I've got Niners, Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks. And I can't be sure that I'm confident in any of those, but I'm going to stick with them.
Well, I like it. I am going to switch a couple. I'll bet the Rams win in the division for the reasons you talked about. Not only did the Broncos take Greenlaw, remember, they also took Talanoa Hufanga, the safety. They love the middle of that San Francisco defense.
Yes.
So
Troy Polamalu.
I'm looking forward to having him.
Yes. He's a dude.
Yeah, you better believe it. So they lost the heart and soul of that defense.
Yeah, they did.
I know they still
Fred
have
Warner.
They lost 2/3. They lost Fred Warner. Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah. Well, but 2/3 is more than 1/3.
Yeah,
so you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
But I like the Niners second. I think the Niners are second, and I can't argue with really Arizona and Seattle either. That's a good way to finish that division. Those teams seem, like you said, they're so evenly matched every year when they play. All the games come down. It feels like to the last possession. Every time you watch one of those late games, if you have the NFL ticket and your game's over and you're watching the last game, it's Arizona playing Seattle and Frisco, and you're like, oh, look, it's tied.
Always.
With 3 minutes to go. Shocker.
And here they are driving down the field, and it's just insane. And so, they're always fun to watch. You remind me of my childhood. You always would see the late West Coast games, and they were so good. And you back in the AFC, be the Raiders at Denver or the Chargers, and you just thrilled. Yeah. But you're right. This NFC West, and it's usually something that you're not anticipating happening. It could be those doggone Cardinals out there giving somebody a fit that you didn't count on doing it. But nonetheless, I'm going to stay with what I am. Niners, Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks, and then we'll reconvene on some of these and see how they all play themselves out. And that, Rick, wraps up all 32 teams in order. We wrapped up the NFC today, and then on the podcast number 1, episode 1, we had the AFC. If you guys didn't catch that, go back and look at it. It'll be out there waiting for you forever and ever and ever.
Go watch it. It's just sitting there on the channel. Go get it.
Waiting on you. Absolutely. There you go. So now, Rick, do we now want to go into the top 7 to decide, in our opinion, or my opinion, who I think is going to make the playoffs now that we've gone through 1 through 4 seeding? How's that? Right?
Which we didn't do in our AFC previews. So here we are debuting right now. Yeah.
There you go. So we'll go back to the AFC. So for those of you that may not have listened, and we encourage you to go back and listen and subscribe.
If you didn't. Shame on you if you didn't.
Yeah, there you go. Shame on you. After seeing this, it's like watching the second episode of a show. Now you got to go back and see the first to know what the buildup is, right? So
that's right.
You watch Rocky 2. Now you got to watch Rocky 1 to understand what the whole thing means. And so there we go. So thank you for that. Like and subscribe. I see you, brother. Let them know. So we'll go back in the AFC. And so recapping the AFC real quick. In the East, I had Buffalo, Patriots, Dolphins, and Jets. We had the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and Browns in that order. Texans, Titans, Colts, and Jaguars in the South. Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders in the West. And so with that being said, that leaves us to a situation where we now pick the top 7. We have the top 7 in the AFC, how we see this thing playing out based on those predictions in each division. And so we will start in the AFC with the Baltimore Ravens as the overall number 1 seed. We feel like, in my opinion, that they've got unfinished business. And they've said it before, and they've said, we got to keep breaking through. We got to keep making this thing happen. I'm reminded a little bit of Steve Young when he talked about get that monkey off my back in the
pull
Super
the
Bowl,
monkey
bro,
off
against
the
the
back.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like Lamar's kind of saying like, man, I just want to win the Super Bowl.
100%.
He's just like, I've done everything. I got MVPs. I don't care about that. I got my paydays. I don't care about that. I've done all the. I gotta get this, not just get to the Super Bowl. I gotta win the Super Bowl. That's his mantra.
Win it.
The Ravens. I feel like the Ravens, as a 1 seed, will come out of this thing based on the fact that they're going to be an extremely motivated football team. That sour taste in their mouth against Buffalo last year, notwithstanding. I got the Chiefs as a 2, and it'll be real interesting to see how much longer the Chiefs can continue after all these years, all these postseason games. There's only so many blows, Rick, you can take.
I know.
And it happens to you, to all of them. If you think about Dallas, that stretch in 91, 92, and then 94, all the way through there. Troy Aikman talked about it in one of the documentaries I saw. He said at the end, we just, that was all we had. You know what I mean? You think about the Giants when you had the 80s, you had LT in them, and he got to the second Super Bowl, and you just don't have enough. The Niners, you talk about Montana, and then even then they transitioned to Young and Rice. You talking about a long stretch there, but then you don't. And then John Elway had a great run. John Elway went to 5 Super Bowls, bro. He went to 5.
I know
Super
people
Bowls.
forget. Take 3
5.
teams by himself to Super Bowls. Everybody criticized him. Who else would have taken him to the Super Bowl during that time? Nobody.
And
terrible.
One of these days when we start wanting to have conversation around quarterbacks and greatness, you make sure, I don't have to remind you, you make sure we talk about John Elway. John freaking Elway could throw the ball through a tornado, and he did, and could run, and he 5 Super Bowls, let me tell you right now. And like you said, 3 of them on his own, and then him and TD closed the deal at the end for sure. Finally, so we'll see if the Chiefs, how much longer they've got in this thing. I got the Bills as the winners of the AFC East, even though I'm a Dolphins fan. Listen, you can't deny what they're doing. Josh Allen is an absolute dude. He's one of the top 4 players in the league. Write it down right now. Unless injuries happen, he's going to be in the running for another MVP. He's just built different.
Question.
If there's a guy that's perfectly built for a place, it's other than if Josh Allen had gone to Denver, because he played out in Wyoming, it would have been perfect for him. Perfect for him. And he's sitting right there. And I think John Elway had a didn't he have a? I wonder if he had a shot, but he should have. He should have.
Oh, he was sitting right there. He was sitting right there. But so was Bradley Chubb, who was the next can't miss pass rushing defensive lineman. They were comparing him to all sorts of people. And,
oh boy,
no, not so much.
And now we got him in Miami, so there's that. And meanwhile, Josh Allen is tearing up Miami, so there's that too. So I've got the Bills at 3. With Bosa coming over, we're going to be interested to see, Rick, how this thing plays out, because all Buffalo's looking at now, they're not even concerned about the division. It's almost an afterthought to them. Although I do think the Patriots are going to be improved, I don't think it's going to be a sleepwalk to beat New England this year. I'm hopeful that Miami can have some pushback. As it stands, I think the Bills will still come out at 3. And I think the Texans at 4. They seem like they're just always at 4. Like they win their division. They can't get any higher than 3. They can't get any higher than 2.
They'll win their division.
They're going to win their division. I think D'Amico Ryan's he's what a football coach should be. He looks the part. He can still play. His team buys in. Youth movement there. Houston's a destination for free agents. And C.J. Stroud's going to have a nice year this year. It'll be year 3. I think he's got
my guy's bouncing back. My guy's bouncing back this year.
There you go. That's the Jaden Daniels of the year before.
Correct.
Right there. There you go. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the 5 spot, sneaking in. Surprise, surprise. I got the Steelers, and here's why. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Mike Tomlin wants him to do. I've not heard him talk about anybody with as much reverence, and he hasn't said a lot as he does about my man Mike T. Mike T's the man.
It's true.
That kind of thing. And for Aaron Rodgers, that's a lot. You know what I mean? And no passive aggressiveness. None of that. He is just in here. He talked about we got together in camp. He's saying all the right thing. And again, we all know how this thing can be. When it's 0-3, we'll see. When you start to get banged up, we'll see. All we have is now. And so for him to be able to be that way, and so are you, I know this, we're such fans of Mike Tomlin. He's not going to allow things to get so screwy.
No.
He can fix it. And there's just something about people buying into him, Rick, that just gives me enough confidence to think that they can be good enough to be at the 5 spot this year. I'd be interested to know.
How can you not love to play for Mike Tomlin, right?
Oh, Rick.
How can you not love to play for Mike Tomlin? I don't understand. I can't stand it. I have Steeler friends, and I just argue with them. Just like Ohio State fans that don't think Ryan Day What are you
What do you
looking at?
want?
Steelers
What do
have
you
had
want?
3 coaches in the
What do you
last
want?
50, 60 years.
It's
He might be the
unbelievable.
best one of all of them. I mean, I don't
I
know.
remember poor Lloyd Carr at Michigan. He just incredible 80-some% winning percentage. Not enough. I'm thinking to myself, well, you guys want 10-2. You get 10-2 seasons, and you guys aren't even thrilled with 10-2, bro. Some of these 6-6 schools would take them in a minute. You know what I mean?
In a
So
heartbeat.
it's unbelievable. Give me Mike Tomlin. But thankfully, the Rooney family understands the noise is just that. We do what
They
we
get
do.
it.
Y'all shut up. Because to me, Rick, when you're that close, it's a lot closer to the top than the bottom. It's not like we got to blow it
No
up
question.
to reset. You stay there and add pieces and go up. That's just me. And so
No, 100%.
I've got the Bengals coming in at a 6. So that gives 3 teams from the AFC North. I got the Bengals coming in. I love Joe Burrow.
But it makes sense. Yeah.
Rick, he's a dude. I just feel like they've got so much offense. I think I read last year where in games where they scored 30 points, they were 3-4. The defense was putrid. It's just, it can't be any worse, one would think. Now, we're not going to pay much attention to the preseason game against Washington where they just were running roughshod over them. So we're not going to count that as anything. They play Cleveland this week to open the season. I just think Joe Burrow is going to have enough offense with those dudes he's got, with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That LSU team was ridiculous. That LSU team with him and Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow was insane. Edwards Helaire running the football. I got the Bengals at 6, and I got your Broncos as a 7. And so the honorable mention goes to the Chargers. I see you rocking the orange right there. That was my colors of Little League football, quite frankly.
My 63 logo.
The throwback joint. There you go. Listen, I don't know a player from that team. Not one. I don't even remember anybody. I go back to the Tom Jackson days. I remember Lyle Alzado, Randy Gradishaw. I remember those. And Craig Morton when he came over from Dallas in the 77 Super Bowl. I remember that group. I remember those kind of dudes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I've got your boys getting in at 7. Why? Sean Payton. He's turned the rebuild. Got to get guys in. Got to get Russ out of here. Okay, Bo Nix is here. All right, now he's settled in. He's got a great defense, and your boy Van on defense is just coaching his tail off. Your boy is coaching, man. Is so good. He's doing such a fabulous job with them. I got them at the 7 and coming in, so that gives 2 from the West, 1 from the East, and 3 from the North, as well as 1 from the South. So that represents Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Texans, Steelers, Bengals, and Broncos. And so that's the 7 getting in. Now, I can either, Rick, go with them all the way through the playoffs, or I can give you the NFC 7. What would you prefer me do? Which one?
Why don't you go through? Yeah, why don't you go ahead and go through your AFC? Tell us who's going to Super Bowl.
All the way through. Got you covered. So the Ravens is the 1, Rick. Ravens is the 1 seed, so they'll get the bye. The 2 seed is the Chiefs, so they will host your Denver Broncos 2-7 game, a division playoff game, always scary. The favorite always hates it, and that's how we have it set up here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly right. So I've got the Chiefs winning that game for no other reason other than the fact it's going to be extremely cold, which it doesn't matter. It'll be January everywhere. The Chiefs winning pedigree, you would think, would be enough. But I will tell you this, if this game actually happens, you best believe that Sean Payton is going to have some tricks up his sleeves, and Andy Reid will have to be on his A game to win it. I got the Chiefs coming out of that one. In the 3-6 matchup, the Bills at Bengals, I've got Joe Burrow going to Buffalo, going head-to-head against Josh Allen. I've got them winning that game. I've got the Bengals winning that game. And then in the 5-4 game, Steelers are going down to Houston. And for the second game out of the 3, I got the Steelers going on the road and beating Houston. I've got them being able to do that. I think this is what Aaron Rodgers will be able to do. If the defense can keep it okay, just keep it okay. Hey, Aaron, can you get us 24 points today on the road in a playoff game with no elements? If you're in the dome, he's 42 years old. For him to be able to be inside, he'd be thrilled to be able to play that game. I've got, if this were to come to pass, I've got them winning that game. And then so that takes us to the divisional round, where we've got the Bengals at the Ravens, because the Bengals will be the lowest remaining seed at that particular point. Got them going to Baltimore. I've got Baltimore winning that game. They are not going to get a number 1 seed. They are not going to lose again like they did to Tennessee several years ago on a beautiful day. I'll never forget it. My wife and I, who's from Baltimore, were watching. Pebbles went crazy. and they let Derrick Henry run crazy over them with Tennessee. They fixed that deal. They brought him over.
They just took him.
They said enough of this. So, although another one of those divisional games, Rick, that are a playoff game, you got to be nervous if you're the Ravens. I've got the Ravens winning that game. And then the Steelers are at the Chiefs. And here's one for you. I got the Steelers winning that game, bro.
Oh,
I got the Steelers.
Here on the
I got the Steelers, Rick, winning that game. I got the Steelers winning that game. How great would that be if everyone had to sit and watch Aaron Rodgers win that game against the Chiefs, knocking out Mahomes? Will that be Kelsey's last game, Andy Reid's last game at home?
Yeah.
That would be an Aaron Rodgers. Now you got an Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, AFC Championship game in Baltimore. Now you got Aaron Rodgers who's trying to get back to his second Super Bowl, and you got Lamar Jackson at home trying to get to his first. You got Tomlin versus Harbaugh, the two most tenured coaches other than Andy Reid in the sport, right? But they're the most tenured with their particular teams. I've got Baltimore finding a way to finally break through, win that game against the Steelers in a game that we all are going to love because it's going to be about the stuff we love, good, hard hitting, football at its finest. I got the Ravens winning that and going to the AFC Championship, winning the AFC Championship, going to Super Bowl. So there's your AFC champs in a nutshell, right? So there's that. So then, Rick, we'll go to the NFC if you're ready, sir. But before we do that,
let's do it.
I'll do the NFC and then I'll give you a chance to rebuttal. How's that?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So NFC, I got the Eagles coming out to the number 1 seed. They're going to get the bye. Again, I think they're just on one right now. I think they're young enough. They're built enough. They got everybody back. I got the Eagles at 1, Lions 2, Niners 3, Falcons 4. Those are your division winners, followed by the Commanders at 5, Rams 6, and the Packers at 7. So I got the Packers getting in. Honorable mention to the Cowboys. Honorable mention to the Vikings. And honorable mention to, I think that the Cardinals may be a little sneaky this year. Don't know why I feel that way, but those are the ones on the outside looking in. So with the Eagles getting the bye, Rick, as the number 1 overall seed, the Packers are at the Lions, opening round. Again, divisional playoff games. Stinks for the home team because you're so tense because you know all your tricks, but not enough for Detroit to lose. I got Detroit winning that game. Rams at Niners. Say it for me, Rick.
Divisional game.
There you go. Rams at Niners. I got the Niners winning that because I'm so bullish on them. So I got the Niners beating the Rams. Not as much confidence, I must admit, in that particular pick. I feel like they can find a way to win it. And the Commanders are going to Atlanta, an indoor game. Jaden going down to play the Falcons. I think the Commanders will be a good enough team to go down and win that game. Very seldom does every home team win the opening round games. And so that takes you to the next weekend where the Commanders are at the Eagles in the playoff game. I got the Eagles winning that game against the Commanders for the second straight year. Then I've got the Niners at the Lions. And this is a scary one for me because I'm such a Lions fan. But I feel like the Niners are going to be able to get them, Rick. I think the Niners will win that game. Thus, they will go to Philly to play in the championship game where I think it'll be impossible to beat them. Once again, they will be back-to-back NFC champs for the third time in 4 years. I think the Eagles will win that game, and they will be your NFC champs. And so that will leave us with a Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl. And I will pause on picking that until you have a chance to go through and unpack this on your side.
Well, in lieu of the fact that he just had his final college game day broadcast, Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Listen, AFC, I'm with you at AFC. I think Baltimore, I love Lamar. It's their time. It's his time. Enough waiting's enough. They're going to get to the Super Bowl for the first time. I think that's going to happen. And look, only thing that worries me about the Steelers is Aaron Rodgers' health. He's very brittle. He's been hurt each of the last, saw an article. At some point, he's been hurt each of the last 4 years he's played.
Yeah.
I don't
42 years old. 42 years old.
Yeah. Exactly. And he's not the 42-year-old that Tom Brady was. Does that make sense? They don't have the same stuff.
No, that's right.
That worries me about them. But in the NFC, I got to go with my guy. I got to go with Washington to go to the Super Bowl. I think we're going to have a regional Super Bowl. I think Jaden Daniels, that's going to be his, here I am. Lamar, it took you a long time. I'm in year 2. Let's go. Let's get it.
Wow.
You're my idol.
Here we go.
He says it. He says it all the time, right? He says
yes,
he's
does.
my idol.
Yes, he
So I
does.
think that's my Super Bowl, Washington and Baltimore.
Washington and Baltimore. Well, we've got the same corridor, that I-95 miserable driving area. If you've ever done
We
it,
do.
from Richmond north, it is buckle up, put helmets and mouthpieces on. It is brutal. But so I've got Ravens, Eagles in the Super Bowl, and Rick, I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. I've got the Ravens winning that Super Bowl, and Lamar will absolutely get his ring. And thus, things will be right in Baltimore and in my house, because my wife's from Baltimore, and she will be insufferable unless he wins it. So we will count on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. What say you?
Well, if that happens, remember I offered you a room a couple of years ago. Anytime
Yes,
you're this
you did.
way, you want to stay for a while, you're welcome. You're welcome.
They better win. I may take you up on that. Yes, sir.
Now, I've looked at it pretty closely, too, and I feel like it's Baltimore's year. I do. And I don't think it'll be the last time Jaden Daniels goes to the Super Bowl by far, but I think it's their time. I think Lamar, like I said, it's his time in his career for that to happen. It happened so late. You mentioned my guy, John Elway. It happened so late in his career. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you finally get the team around you. I just think they're going to bust through that defense. Derek Henry, John Harbaugh, I don't think it's enough credit. You and I give him credit, but I think he kind of goes – he flies under the radar for whatever reason, and I don't get it. But I'm with you. I think Baltimore. I think Baltimore's going to win Lamar's first Super Bowl. I really do.
I think it's going to be an incredible season. I really feel like as we get ready to launch this thing, it's so many different storylines. You know, what is Aaron Rodgers going to be like in Pittsburgh? Joe Burrow, he got his guys all signed. Everybody's back. You've got Dallas. What is going on with them? Can the Commanders come back? They had such a flash in the pan season, totally unexpected. They expected to be better. Who saw that? NFC Championship game appearance, year one with Jaden. Who saw that? The Eagles, 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, very methodical, bringing everybody back. Chiefs, is this going to be the end? Is Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere, and Andy Reid continues to say he's not. Kelsey, what's going to happen with them? That kind of thing. We haven't talked a lot about Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. Is Justin Herbert going to? What is he going to do? We keep waiting on it. I'm a fan of his. I wish we had taken him in Miami instead of Tua in some ways, just because I feel like the way he plays. And listen, I like Tua, but it seems very limited.
I know what you're saying.
With Tua, it has to be one way. It's like if it's not on script perfectly, then it breaks down, and that kind of thing.
Work.
It's too regimented for me. Where Justin Herbert can at least he can do things on the move. If things break down, he can still make plays. And so there's so many storylines. We got Pete Carroll in Vegas with the Raiders. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that division's gonna be fun. Coaching matchups in that division.
Oh, good Lord. It's going to be fun. And then Rick, there's the things that are concerning. Well, this isn't one of them. Cam Ward in Tennessee. Let me tell you something. Just watch that team. Cam Ward in Tennessee is a dude. I mean, again, that guy right there understands football. He knows what he's doing. I think they're going to be fun. And again, we talked about this before. The questions abound about the Colts and the Jaguars. We just don't know enough yet. I am interested in seeing Travis Hunter. We talked about that on the last show. Yep. And so to me, there's so many storylines, and that's why the clicker is going to be burning on Sunday, because I'm going to watch every bit. I'm going to watch a little bit of every single game. That's what I try to do every Sunday, a little bit of every single game, because I got to get the feel of it so we can talk about this stuff. We can't just talk to you about it just on reading it. We got to kind of get into it and look at some of it.
Yeah, you got to see it. You got to see it.
But I will be tuned into Miami at Indy to see the Colts game, to see what Daniel Jones does as Anthony Richardson has to watch from the side. So we'll see how that all plays out. But as it stands right now, I've got Ravens, Eagles in the Super Bowl and a Baltimore championship, brother.
I got Ravens and Commanders, and I've got Baltimore winning it. And I don't want to see Cam Ward play well in week one. He can play well the rest of the year, but he better come out to the Rocky Mountains, and he better not just do what he did in Miami, which could happen. You never know.
You never know. I couldn't agree with you more. So, but I think we buttoned it up pretty good, brother. I think we went through 32 teams.
It's good.
1 through 4 seeding for each division, and top 7 out of each conference makes a playoff. We lined that up. We gave you breakdowns of who we think is going to be in the playoffs all the way through. And so this is where it lands, brother. This is where we land.
This is where it lands. 2 sneaky games. Now, I'm not going to go through the obvious games. Like we know Ravens, Bills, we know Lions and Packers are going to be exciting and so forth. Yep. But the 2 sneaky games, we talked about it. on our first podcast a little bit. Steelers Jets. That's going to be fun
Absolutely.
to watch.
The Aaron Rodgers game.
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the one I like that maybe people aren't talking about, Texans and Rams to me.
Houston Rams. I knew you were going to say that. Yep. Exactly right. Late game.
I think that's going to be fun to watch. And that's if the Broncos are playing well. If not, I would have walked out of the house and probably smashed my television. So we hope that doesn't happen so I can enjoy that game before the Sunday night game between the Ravens and Bills.
Well, it's so funny you say Houston. I have that literally check right here. Houston at Rams, 425 CBS game. I thought to myself, boy, that's going to be fun to watch. You're right. The Tennessee-Denver game. Of course, you got the Niners in Seattle. You know, that 4 o'clock West Coast game you talked about, that's usually one of those later in the year where you kind of going, what's going on over there? It usually starts at 4:25. You know, we know about Detroit, Green Bay, and all those, but you're right. That's going to be real interesting to see. And here's another interesting one around new coaches. The Raiders are at New England. That's Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, new coaches and with new teams launching each other at 1 o'clock. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, the Ohio Bowl, Cincinnati at Cleveland, divisional game right out the box. So yeah, Rick, they're going to give it all to us on Sunday, man. And I love the Sundays where you get the whole slate of games. And then we got the Monday night game. Of course, we go Thursday, Friday. Chiefs and Chargers are in Brazil. And of course, Dallas and Philly for the banner reveal tomorrow night. So it should be a lot of fun, man. And it's going to line up to be a great season, man. And I'm here for it all, man. About 20 weeks of this stuff, bro. About 20 weeks.
20 weeks. We'll have football going through February. Darn, that's a shame.
I'm here for it, and I'm here for it all. Yep. I hope all the chores are done.
There's no honeydew list now. Sorry, you had your chance during the summer.
Donezo. 100%. There you go. 100%. There you go, brother.
Well, great stuff as always, man, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the season with you here on Sports and More with David Smith and yours truly, Rick Watson. Folks, thanks for watching, and this will be up on our Big Dog Sports Talk channel. Go in and watch. It stays up, as David referenced. The first episode is up. It's well over 100 views already, which is really cool. And follow it up. You want to find out who we got going to the Super Bowl, you got to watch this episode. You won't hear this until after you know that, but still, great stuff, man. Appreciate your time, David. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rick. We'll see you next week, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and catch us here every week for the Sports and More podcast with me and David Smith right here. Everybody take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. So long, everybody.